Hi, I'm Dawn and this is where Shabby meets Bling. Today's project is going to be a big one. It's like Carol meets Burton meets Disney meets Shabby meets Bling. Today's project is going to be a Christmas Wonderland with a shabby chic twist. Actually, an Alice in Wonderland, Christmas in July. We have hosts tonight, and those wonderful hosts are Annie from Crafting with Annie Jones and Antoinette from Antoinette Decorating. The links to their fabulous channels and this playlist are in my description box. My project starts with 2 Christmas tree stands, and they are vintage and they are really cool. And I really thought they were the same size, but lucky for me, they are not, because it serves my purpose. And look at this thing. This is an old, I think 1980s plant stand. But what it can do for me is going to save me a ton of work. So I'm really stoked I have that. Actually, I found 2 of them, and I only have parts to the other one because I've used many of the parts to that other one. And then here we have bakeware. We have, and most of it's old, and then we have some old vintage trays as well. And we're going to make good use of all these items. And if that wasn't enough, let's add some candlesticks. We need more, right? You know me. More is more. And then how about a couple of relatively new Galvy charger plates and a couple of candle pans. Should be enough, maybe. I am starting this project by disassembling that old metal plant stand. I can't even imagine displaying plants in this thing for real. So we've got to take her apart and use her for something a little bit different. Now, I may be making fun of this thing, but you know darn well I'm going to keep every darn last piece of this thing, and you know you will see it in another project. You know that for sure. One thing I am for sure is dependable. Another thing you can depend on me to do is to paint. So I need to prep all my wood, all of the spindles, all the candlesticks. I need to prep them so I can paint them, and I am using my Rust-Oleum deglosser on all of these components. My candlesticks needed a little extra prepping other than the deglossing. One needed a plate removed because I'm going to be drilling through these. One needed a screw removed. And then another one needed a hole drilled into it. So a lot going on while my other spindles are sitting in their Rust-Oleum. Since my candlesticks and my spindles are all different types of wood, I'm going to unify them, and I'm going to unify them in a kind of fun and funky way. I am going to create a faux wood grain on all of them and then paint them. This is dimensional paint, which you know I love to use. I use this in so many different types of projects, but oh my god, I love it. And if you notice, I am kind of sort of following the wood grain on the spindle. But then I'm going to get crazy and just kind of freehand and make up my own design here in a little bit. I don't conform totally. Here I'm working on one of the candlesticks, and you can see it's darker and more dense. It is a different type of wood, and you can barely make out the wood grain. So I have just had to take matters into my own hands and make out my own patterns. Kind of Tim Burton-ish, right? Well, this is an Alice in Wonderland Christmas. So I am just winging it here, and I'm going to use the same technique on all my components. Once all my spindles and candlesticks have dried overnight, I am coming back in and painting them coffee house. My favorite new color, coffee house. Love, love, love. And if you notice, I only did half the spindle because this was the this was the trial one. I continued. I did give everything 2 coats because I did not want to see that white paint underneath it. I just wanted it to be the texture underneath that coffee house. I didn't want to see any white at all. But if you touched it, you would feel the ridge. And if you looked at it, you would also very subtly see it. Now it's time to take care of those Christmas tree stands. We need to disassemble them and give them a good scrubbing because they are old and rusty and dirty. And then we're gonna paint them. Surprise! Surprise! Dawn's gonna paint something. While paint is drying, let me introduce you to my little friend. Here's my little friend. A little bunny rabbit. I got him at Kohl's. And I just got him not that long ago. And there was quite a few of them, but not many in good shape. And he was, you can see how expensive he was. And I got him for $25.99. And he was $129.99. And he's coming apart in some places, and we'll rectify that. But this is Alice in Wonderland. You need a rabbit. So he's going to have some glasses. And I'm going to simply take a pair of Dollar Tree, those really cheapy reader glasses. And I'm going to remove the arms. And they're going to perch on his nose. I mean, if you remember, I'm thinking about the cartoon, the original cartoon Disney. He had little spectacles perched on his nose, so that's what I intend to do here. Now Blue and I are getting ready to fit him for his little outfit, that little tunic he's wearing. And I am simply, by folding over just some brown paper, some packing paper, shipping paper, I am forming a little pattern for his tunic. And I am going to just play this by ear and see what comes of it. Just a few folds, basically a square with a little notch out for his cute little neck. Once I determine the exact shape I want and have it cut to size, then I'm going to transfer it over to some burlap. I will be cutting 2 of these shapes because he has the double-sided tunic, a little piece in front and a little piece in the back. So 2 pieces. I am making a little heart pattern because he has a little heart on his tunic. So that's what's happening now. I just did a big heart shape and then I'm going to fold it over to make sure both sides are totally symmetrical. And then I'll cut it out and there's my little perfect heart pattern. I'm taking my beautiful natural burlap and my little heart, which I made out of Oyster burlap, and I've already added the Ultra Bond paper to the backside, and now I'm going to bond it to some beautiful felt for stability. Both of these colors of burlap, as well as the tassel that I will be using later, come from burlapfabric.com. And there is a link with the descriptions in the description box below, as well as a coupon codes where you can save $5. So please check it out. Your coupon code is SHABBYMEETSBLING. Onto his little jester-like collar, I am using the bow that I took off of him when I purchased him. It was just a burlap ribbon. And full disclosure, I have 2 bunnies. They're both shaped different. One's kind of standing up and the other is what you saw. But I took his ribbon off too, and I'm going to join them both together and just kind of fold them back and forth accordion style to make his little jester collar. Well, of course my rabbit needs a pocket watch, so I picked up this little number at Goodwill. And when I picked it up, it was half off. I tend to shop the half off tags and try not to look at other things, and that way I don't get myself into trouble. I disassembled this little clock for some of the components. I'm not going to use them all, very few actually, and then I'm going to start to make my own components to go along with it. I formed a couple of styrofoam donut shapes basically, and a little dimensional back that has kind of almost like a waffle weave pattern on it, and I'm going to paint and assemble my own pocket watch. The only parts I actually used from the little clock were that little plastic face cover and the hands, and just two little pieces in the back that hold the hands in place. And other than that, I printed off my own face, a new face, because I didn't like what it said on the one in the one I purchased. And everything else I put together without the use of that little clock. So I might do something fun with that little clock too. It's kind of cool. At least it could be. Could be. The Christmas tree stand and the plant stand are prepped and ready for assembly. The white rabbit is dressed and he's ready to roar. But I need to address the baking forms and those trays, so we need to take care of that. Maybe I should do some baking? I need to drill a hole in the exact center of each and every tray and baking pan, form, tart pan, or whatever it is, but I need an exact center, and then I'm going to drill a hole in each and every one of them. The pans with some depth to them, I put some scrap wood underneath them and clamped them to a board so I wouldn't squash them. Good thinking, Dawn. I also, once I had my holes drilled through, I gave them a good scrubbing so they could take what? Oh, yeah. Let's paint. Let's paint these things. I am simply using a brown Rust-Oleum paint, and it kind of looks like rust already. I have rust creeping through on some of these things already. So to me, if rust creeps through this paint, it's just gonna add to the rustic, shabby chicness of it all. All that's left to do is to set the table. And then you are all invited to a Wonderland Christmas tea party in July. Wear something cool. It's gonna be hot. Welcome to a Wonderland tea party. Here you get a really good look at the tree stand and plant stand turned tiered tray. If you were to use these tiered trays to serve real food, you would of course put a liner underneath. But you can really get a good look at the faux grain I created. And there's the other one. I made them so they can be disassembled. You can unscrew them and you can make them taller or shorter, whatever your heart desires. And there's our butterfly bread. You can't have a Wonderland tea party without butterfly bread. And our dormouse. He's got the key. Did you forget about our little white rabbit? Well, there he is with his little tunic with the heart and his trumpet and his spectacles. And oh yes, he has his pocket watch. He will never be late again. There's the front, and there's a good look at the back. Made out of foam, and a couple of clock parts. I will be doing a video on how I created these yummy treats, from the meringue cherry pie to the decadent layered cakes. And maybe even some candies. Yes, that's ice cream. When you're having Christmas in July and you're in the Midwest, you need some ice cream to go with that cake. Don't forget to check out the entire Wonderland Christmas playlist. The link is in the description box below. I hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, please give it a like. Share it with your family, your friends, anyone that likes Christmas and whimsy and shabby chic decor. Ring the bell to get notifications of all my new videos. You can support this channel by subscribing, so don't forget to subscribe. And for now, This is Dawn with Shabby Meets Bling. Thank you so much for stopping by. We will see you next time. And happy Christmas in July.